So we're back, St Nicholas Churchyard. Big thanks to everybody who's been commenting and sharing the video for me last time. So as you can see, the grass has been cut in here. So I have spoke to some people in the council, but this graveyard is owned by the church, so I do need to still speak to the church. So we can clean some graves up and stuff, but the things that I would like to do are going to involve a bit more work. So we need permission of the church, so hopefully they're going to be on board, and hopefully speak to them very, very soon. But it's been bad weather, so I've not really been here doing anything. But yeah, if you look, all the grass is cut, so it does look a little bit tidier. But yeah, there's still lots to be done, still lots of graves like this. I mean, even more so now, look, with the grass on top, you can't see it. So the plan is to speak to the church and then, yeah, see if we can get some stuff done. But today, I'm going to show you this. So my granddad was a man named Harry Moss. His real name was Thomas Henry, which is my middle name. But he always went by the name of Harry. Now, he was the son of Welsh farmers, and they moved to Thorne, and my granddad ended up becoming a shipbuilder at Dunston's. So Dunston's was a shipbuilding yard in Thorne. I actually used to live on Dunston Drive, which is the road, the housing estate, which is now built on the site that Dunston's yard was on. I remember going to Dunston's when I was a little kid. Just the yard was, the shipyard was gone, but there was like a big open area. I remember going there as a kid, and I remember seeing lots and lots of photos of ships that my granddad had helped to build. So I'm going to post a picture of my granddad working at Dunston's now, and some pictures of the ships that he worked on as well. So obviously doing the research of a lot of these graves, a lot of the people, a lot of the families, I know we've done a lot on the Sutton family, are connected to barges. So obviously Dunstan's was building ships, building barges. So there's a big sort of shipbuilding theme, if you like, in this graveyard and in this village. So Dunstan's was really, you know, it was a massive industry. Lots of people worked for Dunstan's. They made ships for the Navy. It really sort of brought money and industry into Thorne, into the village. So it's something that we should be proud of, something that we should know about. They should teach it in local schools about the Dunston family. And yeah, that's what I wanted to focus on today, just because of this, really. This here is the Dunston family plot, if you like. It's not looking in very good shape, but yeah, I'll show you what we've got. So this is the Dunston family plot, and it's not looking in great nick. This is where it is in the graveyard, so if you can find this big square one here, it's just next to that. So we'll start with this guy. So this guy is Richard Dunston, born in 1826. Now this is the guy who brought the shipyard to Thorne. He's buried here with his wife Elizabeth. So in 1858, Richard Dunston, who had a shipyard in Torksey in Lincolnshire, that's where he was from. In 1858 he moved to Thorne, set up the shipyard here, and that was the beginning of the Dunston family industry. So yeah, look at this grave, it's not looking good. There's a bit of a traffic cone here with all maggots underneath it. There's glass everywhere. It's not looking great. You can see his daughter. This is his daughter, Rhoda Eliza, daughter of Richard and Elizabeth Dunston. So yeah, she died quite young. So that's a grave marker as well. And then this one is George Dunston. So this is another son of the first Richard that came. So he's buried here with his wife, who's also called Elizabeth. So that is George. That is Richard and Elizabeth's son, and Rhoda, this is her brother. Then we've got this one here. So this is Thomas Dunston. So this is another son of Richard and Elizabeth. So this guy, Thomas, is the brother of Rhoda, the brother of George. But the difference with this guy is he inherited the family business. So when Richard died, the family business passed to Thomas, and he took over the boat building business. So interestingly, he's buried here with Catherine Stewart Allen Dunston. Her maiden name was Sutherland. She was called Catherine Stewart Allen Sutherland, and she was from Scotland. Now, the Sutherland family were landowners from Scotland, and her father was called Sinclair Sutherland. Now, if you know anything about Scottish history, you will know that the name Stewart, which is her middle name, and the name Sinclair, which is her father's first name, are very, very important names. And that's because this lady Catherine was a direct descendant of the Sinclair and the Stewart family, who are you know, the Scottish kings were the Stuarts, and the Sinclairs were the St. Clair family, famously depicted in the Da Vinci Code film. So yeah, she's got lots of interesting connections in Scotland, again to the Stuarts and to the Sinclair family, and the Sutherland family, you know, the direct family that she was from were landowners in Scotland. But yeah, she was a very, very connected lady, and yeah, she married Thomas Dunston, who was running the shipyard. So when I was looking on findagrave.com, there was somebody who was looking for Richard Dunstan's grave. Now, we've got Richard Dunston, the elder, if you like, who brought the shipyard to Thorne, but he had a son called Richard Dunston. Now, the grave that is in this graveyard, which I have not located, it might actually be, you know, he might have been buried in one of these graves, because he died as a child. He was born and he died pretty much immediately after. He was called Richard Dunston, and he was the son of Thomas and Catherine. So the one that's buried here died. Now, 5 years later, they had another child who they also called Richard Dunston. Now, he is who I believe to be who people knew as Dickie Dunston. He took over the shipyard, and yeah, he became one of the more recent owners of the shipyard. I do not believe he's buried in this graveyard, from what I can find. From what I can find, he's actually buried somewhere in Lincolnshire. But if anybody has any information on the Dunston family, maybe you're connected to the Dunston family, if you know how you're connected to them, please let me know, and I will add you to the community tree. Some of you are already in there, so I've started building the Dunston tree. So yeah, if you know that you're connected to the Dunstons, let me know, and I will try and build that in. But yeah, what I did find interestingly is a lot of the Dunstons went off to South America, and there was in South America, and I found a visa document of Richard Dunston with his picture on, which looks pretty cool. So I will post that now. So that's it for today's video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Dunstons and what I would like to do with this area, because I think that it's pretty sad that it's in a bit of disrepair. There's a traffic cone, maggots everywhere, glass everywhere. So I think that, you know, the Dunstons have got a lot of history in Thorne, and I'm sure when I post this there'll be lots of comments and stories about the Dunston family. Like I say, my granddad worked for the Dunston family. He bought his house on Brook Street. He told me that he bought that from the Dunstons. And I know that the Dunston family at some point lived in the cottage, Windy Ridge Cottage it was called, so at the back of Bellwood Crescent in Thorne, in the back corner, Windy Ridge Cottage, I did find some documentation where the Dunston family were living there. So yeah, which is pretty close to my granddad's old house on the corner of Brook Street, or number 15 Brook Street. It had a bombshell in the back garden as well, which was pretty cool. Like I say, he told me that he bought that from the Dunstons. So yeah, need to speak to the church, but this is what I would like to do. I'd love to tidy this up, dig all this out, get rid of all this glass, and maybe just put some gravel in there, straighten this up. Obviously this is broken off, but just tidy it up, clean this, and get rid of this traffic cone and all this stuff, and maybe even put some kind of, you know, we could put a little stand here with something on, just explaining about the Dunstons, who they were, what they did for Thorne, you know, a little bit of information, so when people are passing through the churchyard, they can come in here and they can see that, you know, these aren't just random graves that have been left in disrepair. You know, we can tidy them up and make them look nice, and like have a bit of information. I'd really like to do that, and sort of teach people who these were, how they relate to each other. Like I say, you've got the head of the family on this side, Richard, his daughter, his son, another son, and then obviously all the connections that they've got. So that is it for today. If you have some stories about the Dunston family, drop them in the comments below. If you know anyone connected to the Dunston family, share this video with them and get in touch with me. I'm building the Thorne and Moorends community tree, so all the graves in this graveyard are going to get documented. If you're connected to people in the tree, I am going to put you in the family tree, and yeah, build all those connections. It's going to be a massive tree, and it's going to show how we're all related in Thorne, because we are all related somehow, distantly, just like in any small village. So yeah, get in touch, and I will see you on the next one.